Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Living. You're joined with Vic.
Jasmine.
And we've got a special guest in the building. It is... Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Nessa. So I'm a qualified psychological therapist and I'm also the founder of the organisation Inside Out UK.
And tell us about the organisation.
Okay, sure. So Inside Out UK is it's a mental health organisation, and the purpose of it is to improve access to mental health education. So we are all about doing workshops, events, providing content that can give people the tools and techniques to essentially look after their mental health and well-being.
That's fabulous. Me and Jazz came across... Well, I've known about you and what you do for a long time.
Yeah.
But I've never seen you in real life. But when I saw you talk at a work...
Solutions.
Yeah, Solutions. You were so amazing. I hope you don't think I'm gassing you. But Jazz had... Me and Jazz
I
had
was the same.
spoken.
We both just looked at each other like...
And Jazz just said to me, let's get her on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like...
Oh, guys!
Because you were talking about the psychological effects of social media.
Yeah. It's something that... I think that particular topic is really, really close to my heart because it's something that I work with young people, I work with young adults.
Yeah.
It's something that everyone can relate to. So in terms of the research, I made sure that I did the research properly to actually understand. And it was things where I actually can relate to myself. So, when you're giving examples, doing it in a way that the people that you're trying to relate to can also relate to you. I think that's so important. So that particular topic, the effects of social media on mental health. Yeah. I even did a workshop just now on it as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
But it was for young people. So it was a bit adapted. But that topic is a deep one. Yeah.
And I think you said something along the lines of... I think you said the reason why we might find it more difficult to do things such as reading books and stuff is because social media is like everything is in snippets. It's little bits of information that we're taking in constantly. So our brain is literally just tired when we read or try to sit down and read a book.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, it explains everything.
Yeah. It's so deep.
Yeah, because I feel like I can't shut off to just read a book sometimes. I find it so difficult. But...
Yeah,
I didn't know why. I didn't know why that was. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a deep one because, when you actually do the research and look into the psychological impacts of social media on your well-being, my friend, you will not go on social media again.
Wow. I need to know.
You will not go on social media again.
Tell us some of the tea.
So just in regards to, the point that you made about the way that social media is. So the way that it's presented, it's been designed in a way that is made to be addictive. So you see how with Twitter, with Instagram, with Facebook, etc., the way that information is presented is in short chunks of information, like you said. So with those short chunks of information, over time, the more you expose yourself to that, the more your brain becomes accustomed to that as well. Okay. So in the long run, if you're just used to seeing short chunks of information, come and get a book now. Your brain is going to be like, woof, this is too much. It's too much. And that's why a lot of people have a short attention span because your mind is going from one topic to the next. To another. So it's information overload. And I think I was reading one book and it was saying how that in a day we are presented with more information and more choices to make than our ancestors did in a lifetime.
Wow.
In a day.
That's insane.
I'm going to repeat that. In a day.
I've got a question. Is it too late for us?
No, it's not.
Are you sure?
It's not. Okay. It's not. It's a bit tricky because especially, nowadays people have business on social media. So the money that you're making is coming from this tool that is addictive. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword. But what I would say in response to that is finding ways that you can control social media as opposed to social media controlling you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's hard. It's really hard, especially, we've been exposed to it for years. And I can't even imagine what it will be like for the generation coming next where all they know is social media. I feel like I am privileged in the sense where I grew up when social media wasn't really a
Yeah,
thing.
it was
So
up
I've
and
had-
coming.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the good internet and the smartphones where we could
Listen.
access it constantly. It was just after school, I will jump on for an hour maybe.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
It was those days where, do you know when you had to, when you went on the internet
Yeah.
and then it sort of interrupted
Yeah.
the telephone line? Yeah.
I was just like, forget it, it's long. Yeah.
But I thought I had a problem when I was younger.
In what sense?
With the internet, because I would be on it come back from school, I'll be on Farmville from 6 till 11.
No.
Just
Think I'd-
non-stop, no breaks.
Just non-stop.
You wouldn't
Farmville.
eat?
I would come to eat,
Okay.
or I'll come to eat and take the food back in. And I'll be on MSN, talking to the same people I was at school with.
Yeah, I remember MSN days.
I remember one time I was like, I think I have an addiction. I had to wheel it down. But still, now it's a bit different because I remember being like, okay, I'm going to stop going on the computer as much. This was like in secondary school, so I'd watch TV instead. But now it's hard because like you could be on your phone, texting, and you're like, I don't want to go on Twitter, and then a notification comes up.
Yeah.
I don't have notifications on anyways.
Same.
It's just too much.
Yeah. It's funny because even on that topic of addiction, it's interesting because in our society today, we tend to rank addictions.
Yeah.
So in the sense where someone who is addicted to drugs, they will be like on the top of the spectrum, like, oh my gosh, they're addicted to drugs. Same way someone who's addicted to alcohol, we think, oh, right, they're addicted to alcohol. But when we look at the actual biological impacts, like what is happening in the brain, all addictions are the same.
Wow.
So whether you're addicted to social media, whether you're addicted to sweets, whether you're addicted to sex, whether you're addicted to pornography, whether you're addicted to drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, that process that's going on in the brain is the same. You know, there is a
What would
difference.
you say the signifiers are of being addicted to social media? Because I know a lot of us say, oh, you know, I scroll a lot, or I might be watching TV and I'm still scrolling, but how would someone say, you know what, actually, maybe I need to cut down? What do you think, you know, are the signifiers of that?
I would say one thing is if it gets in the way of you being productive and if it's getting in the way of you doing those things that you need to do. So let me give you an example. Sometimes in the morning, you might pick up your phone and be like, oh yeah, let me just check this DM or whatever for 5 minutes. Before you know it, it's been 2 hours.
Wow.
And you're just on there, and it's not something that you're intentionally doing. It's usually those unintentional consequences where, you know, you're on it, and then before you know it, a lot of time has passed by, and you're actually thinking to yourself, what have I actually done today? Do you know what I mean? What have I actually done? So I would say that's one sign that you may be you know, addicted to social media. Another thing is when you experience withdrawal effects. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this where, let's say you've got you've left your phone in another room. And usually when you get a notification or something, you would probably hear like a vibration or a ding or whatever. But you've left your phone in another room where you can't hear it at all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just feel vibration. I don't know if you've experienced that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I haven't.
Okay. Some people
But
do
I have
experience
experienced it with like when I've actually had my phone and I thought I felt
Oh
it
yeah, I
vibrate.
get that.
Yeah.
I think it's got
Yeah. So some people, when they're experiencing like severe withdrawal effects from social media or from their phone or whatever, they may experience that vibration, but then the phone is not actually there.
Wow.
And that is called what's it called again? Phantom vibration syndrome. So there's actually a term for it itself where you actually feel it, but then the phone's not actually there. I guess just to add to those withdrawal effects as well, let's say so I did a social media cleanse. When I first did the research about this, I was like, let me take my time with this social media. So I decided to do a 30-day social media cleanse, and I was like, I'm on it. Let me do this thing. Let me do it. Day one was hard. I picked up my phone, like wanting to get those, you know, notifications. I wanted that dopamine from, you know, the notifications itself. And then there'll be times where I just pick up my phone without even realizing. And that itself is part of those withdrawal effects where you just pick up your phone thinking, oh my gosh, I need to check my phone. But then you sort of realize that,
I didn't have to.
Yeah, I didn't have to. And my apps have been deleted anyway. So what am I checking? Yeah.
When you said dopamine, that's what I get from the gym, no?
Yeah.
I'm finished.
So do you know how I said that all addictions, like that same process is going on in your brain? No, let's relate that to social media. When you get a like, that's a hit of dopamine. So it's like that feel-good factor. Another like, that feel-good factor. And the more you get, the more you feel good about yourself. And it's not just like, you know, a thing that happens that we know of. It's a biological thing as well that actually happens. And it's addictive. Dopamine's addictive. If you feel good, when you eat sweets, and it tastes nice and it tastes sweet. Like, let me go back. Let me go back for more. Do you know what I mean? And that's the same thing that's happening, that dopamine effect. Yeah.
Let's talk about you being a therapist.
Sure.
And like the process. How did it all come about? Like when did you know, this is what I want to do?
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know, would you believe me if I told you at some point in my life I wanted to be an actor?
I would, you know.
So being a therapist was not even part of the equation for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to go into theatre. So at some point, like after secondary school and everything, I went drama school for a little bit, and that was something that I really enjoyed. Like I still do a bit of writing here and there, but writing scripts. I would like get like a group of friends together, direct something, that kind of thing. I really, really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it like today, but I don't do it on a large scale, just like things here and there anyway. And then I think one of the reasons why I changed career path, because I felt pressurized to go down the more academic route.
Okay, yeah.
So my family wanted me to go down the medicine route. And typical. But it wasn't really something that I was passionate about, like the blood and the it wasn't really for me. So the closest I would go was, for me, psychology. So I did psychology in college, at A-level, at sixth form, and then psychology degree itself. That process was psychology degree. I think those people out there who have done psychology degrees, you guys will know that the struggle is real.
Wow.
The struggle is really real. I enjoyed it. I got first class.
Oh, amazing.
Well done.
Thanks. And then after that, I did training. So, I had a bit of a gap actually in the mental health field itself. So I was just doing lots of work experience here and there, built up my portfolio, did training.
Is it hard to get work experience?
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really hard. But I was doing things in uni. So when I was in uni, the advice that I was given was to take advantage of every single opportunity. And that was me. ACS, I was there. Student ambassador, I was there. I was just doing everything and anything just to, because at that point I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Yeah. So it was just like lots of different things just to see what actually works for me and what I like and what I don't like. But I feel like in a way, it's funny, even though it felt at that time like I was doing random things, it all sort of came together in the end. So for instance, like, you know how I spoke about being passionate about theatre and performing arts and stuff? I sort of do that anyway with Inside Out, where we've previously in the past, we've done like a theatre production where we're talking about mental health, including mental health education. But then I also have the opportunity to be creative with it as well. Yeah. So I just realised I diverted from the therapist thing.
No. It's making sense.
It's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all part of that journey. So I work part-time within the NHS as a therapist, and then part-time doing Inside Out. But the training was intense, very intense. Yeah.
And tell us, like, you know, we spoke about on this pod about going to therapy and how important it is for Black people, and there's still such a stigma. What's it like being a Black therapist?
Ooh.
And do you get much clients that look like you?
Good question. So in terms of clients that look like me, where I work, hardly. So you get some popping through here and there.
Is that because you're not private? You're NHS, right?
NHS.
So the clients, do they come through like GP? Okay.
Yeah, cool. So they can come through GPs, and they can also come through self-referrals. But I think it's just because one of the reasons why we may not have as many, I might not have as many clients that look like me is because people are not really familiar with the service. So there's less people referring to the service anyways. Or it might be the case where people have had negative experiences, so they don't want to come back.
That's true.
Yeah. But I've had experiences where when we weren't, well, pre-COVID anyway, a client would come in like, oh my gosh, a black therapist. I've never actually, seen a black therapist.
This is a black person.
Yeah, black
okay.
person.
I don't want to see no excitement from a white person. But black therapist, wow.
But I've had it negatively the other way around as well.
Oh gosh.
Really?
Yeah. So this was when I was working, this wasn't in London, I was working outside of London in Oxford. And basically, long story short, a client didn't want to see me because I was black and because I was young and because I was a female. So I think, they wanted to see someone. At that time, I'd literally just qualified. So they wanted to see someone a bit more experienced, which is fair enough, but someone who actually looked like them. But I think in the mental health field itself, in the therapy field, there's a lot of racism and stuff going on there. So,
oh goodness,
that has its own barriers anyway. Yeah.
Do you ever get that people are like, because I remember when I was younger and my friend used to make this joke about going to the clinic. She's like, I don't want to go because what if there's a black lady there and she knows my mom?
Oh.
And then I started to think it too. But obviously you have confidentiality things to sign. So
definitely,
there's nothing like that that's going to be flying around.
Yeah. So everything is confidential as well. And I think, so as well as working within NHS, I also take on private clients as well. And with that, I see more black people.
Okay.
Yeah, because maybe people have come across my page and they're familiar with what I do and they actually want someone that they can relate to. So I think that's one of the benefits, is even though there's a lot of things that are negative things that may happen within the field itself, not necessarily with patients, but just as a field its own. One of the positive things is that I'm in a position where I can actually relate to people and people can relate to me. So as a young black woman, it's not every day that you actually get therapists who fit that particular category.
Yeah, definitely.
So some people may feel more comfortable speaking to me or working with me or anything like that.
Yeah. And like for our listeners who've probably never considered therapy, why would you encourage someone to give it a shot?
It's always important to get an outside perspective of what you're experiencing. So even as a therapist, I have a therapist.
Oh, I was about to ask you that, actually.
Yeah, I have a therapist.
That's a very good question.
Yeah. And it's so important. So, sometimes where you may be experiencing a difficulty, what can tend to happen is, you experience one thought and that leads off into another thought and another thought. Before you know it, you're ruminating over your situation. And once you're focused on your problem, that magnifies the problem itself. And sometimes, you become more hyper vigilant of the actual issue. And sometimes it's, it can be quite helpful to actually discuss that from another perspective, from an objective perspective. Not necessarily, sometimes talking to someone does help. But in other cases, when you can look at things from a different perspective, that's all it is, just to help you see things differently. And when you get someone else talking to you about your situation from another angle, you can connect the dots. And I think that's really important. I think I always say that self-awareness is your superpower, because essentially it is. And if you're not able to get that self-awareness yourself, getting that from a professional who has been trained in that field, I'm telling you, with that self-awareness, you will move mountains. Do you know what I mean? You can. It's so powerful. It's really powerful when you actually know yourself, where you know what makes you tick, when you know your triggers, when you know your red flags, and in that way you're able to actually navigate better in life. So it's all about being able to take life for what it is. It might be so cheesy to say this, but we only have to do one life. So.
I thought you were gonna say Hannah Montana, life's what you make it, so just make it. There's no cheese that you can say on this podcast. That's okay. So.
But would you say that's the same with like your good moments as well? Because I think a lot of people associate therapy with when you're going through something rough and you're low and you're feeling down. But is it equally as important to go to a therapist when you're happy, when you've had good news and all of that?